when you look at this offense, it's hard to evaluate because there are elements where the offensive line has been really bad. The wide receiving core, I didn't expect it to be much better than it is, and it's not good. And then the quarterback play. How do you evaluate each of those three elements of the offense when all of them have broken down?
Well, Kevin Stefanski himself basically said that they feel comfortable evaluating wide receivers even with the quarterback play, and vice versa. So, look, I think the wide receiver position is going to be a continuing work in progress. They made the conscious decision to go with this very young core. Obviously, the Tillman injury hurt them. They've got to keep working to get Jerry Jeudy more involved. They've got to find a way to get, whether it's Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, or whoever the hell else, to get in and get him the ball. And then they've got to sort of build this thing out. They've got to find some ways to get development. If that is Bond, if that is Thrash, if that's Larvin, if it's Malachi Corley, it doesn't matter at this point. And the thing is, because of the investment that's not really been paid to these guys, there's no like they're not working with a first round pick where you know they're going to be here for a couple of years. These are guys that are either undrafted free agents or otherwise flyers that it gives them a lot of flexibility to just play the guy who's going to give them the best chance to win in a given week. So it does sort of create, I think, a competitive environment where guys are going to get rewarded for playing well if we can muster that, and you're going to see more movement, I think, than we've seen sort of in other positions like offensive line, where they're not just going to move guys around because they've got sort of the guys they want in plays.
I got to ask you, when I see Corley, I've seen the jet sweeps, whatever you want to call it. I kind of want to see this guy more out in routes. I know you can't really run slants because of the size of your quarterback, so that kind of negates that. I think this guy has something that they don't have in their receiving core. A little bit of size and a little bit of, he's a bigger guy.
So one of the knocks coming on Malachi Corley when he was at Western Kentucky was he's not a good route runner. But he is since Kevin Stefanski was in Minnesota, he had 1 year with Cordero Patterson, and he has been searching for that element ever since. Anthony Schwartz, in part, was sort of that little element. They've had some other guys in that trying to scratch that itch. Malachi Corley is the latest, and he's the most successful in sort of what they can do. You see him effective on jet sweeps, some of these screens and other things, where Malachi Corley, for the most part, is just a guy, get the ball to him and let him create. In that sense, he's sort of a raw wide receiver version of Harold Fannin, who's a little bit more polished. So I'm with you. The thing with Corley is, can they get him to develop the routes? I mean, that's why the Jets gave up on him so quick, despite being a third-round pick. So in some ways, you sort of look at this and you go, man, I hope they can find a way to use this. Meanwhile, you're sitting there looking at this and you're going, well, at least the Browns are getting way more use out of him than the New York Jets did.